Hi lovely people, welcome back to my channel. I'm Chani Singh and I'm going to talk about my top favorite Sigma brushes. A makeup artist is nothing without her tools. We need those tools so bad to achieve perfection, and I was introduced to Sigma about 2 years back and I am absolutely hooked. The foremost thing that I want to speak about Sigma is that the quality of brushes is absolutely amazing. So at that point, it might seem a tad bit too steep for you, but trust me, these brushes go a long way and they're absolutely worth every penny spent. So the first brush that I cannot do without is the E25, and this is what it looks like. Now this is the brush that I use to blend my eyeshadow to perfection. If you want to get that perfect crease line where you do not get any harsh stark lines, the brush is also made out of natural fiber and it latches onto the product really well and seamlessly works into the crease line. Now when I discovered this brush, I also started using it to apply concealer to the under eye. It gets really well into the corners of the eyes, like smaller areas, specifically the inner corner. And also there are times when my client has an extreme problem under eye, like eye bags and fine lines. This product, it also deposits product into the fine lines really well. However, what I want to tell you is, like, this is my E25 brush which I use for my concealer, and this is the one that I use for my eyeshadow, and I stick to it. I will not apply an eyeshadow with this and I will not dip this into a cream concealer because it loses its shape. So E25, my top Sigma brush. The next two brushes I'm going to talk about are my foundation brushes, and this one here is the Flat Angled Kabuki brush F88, and the other one is a Flat Kabuki brush. It's the F80. So as the name suggests, this is angled out and this one is totally flat on top. It buffs my foundation really well. I can also kind of take it into the hairline. I prefer the angled over the flat brush. However, I won't deny I use a mix of both, but if I had to choose one, definitely the angled brush. Why? Because when you kind of dab your foundations, especially on the under eye, the angled brush kind of gets really well into, on your under eye without getting into your eye, and you'll not hurt your client or yourself. The angled areas also kind of work very well, around the nose, on the area where the face meets the ear. And I also like the way it kind of seamlessly goes on to the curves of the face. So when I use the angled brush, I'm kind of more patting it, and it's only towards the end that I kind of drag it into the hairline or drag it into the neck area. However, when I use the flat brush, I kind of use it more to kind of buff the foundation into the skin. Absolutely must buy both of them. Totally love them. The next brush I'm gonna show you is the Sigma 3D HD Kabuki. And what they did was they introduced a mini version of it also. So if you see, it is angled on both sides and it's got like a pointed area right in the center. Similarly, even the small one is just that this is called the 3D HD Precision, and this is just the 3D HD Kabuki. Now what I love about this brush is, again, you can really work with it under the eye without it getting into your eye. The smaller brush also works very well, specifically when you want to work really close to the lash line. I also use the smaller brush a lot to contour the nose. So what I really do is I get the product onto the sides of my brush, and I just kind of draw a line with it and I just kind of blend it downwards, right? I also use the tip of the small brush to kind of highlight the bridge of my nose. gives you great precision. Absolutely love both of them. The next brush I'm going to talk about is the E55 eye shading brush. Now this is the perfect brush to apply your eyeshadow on those lids. Now remember, a good brush also kind of, when you dip your brush into your palette, it kind of latches onto the product very well. Also, a lot of lesser product falls if the quality of your bristle is just perfect. Again, this has been made out of natural fiber. And the moment you dab it onto any of your eyeshadows, the product latches onto it really well. The moment you take it onto your lid to pat it right there, it really makes sure that the product sticks onto the lid and does not fall a lot. So an E55 eye shading brush. Another thing that I love about the brush is the size of it. Like, I used to use one by MAC a lot. However, the MAC was slightly smaller than this, and of course, the smaller the brush, the longer the time it takes for you to apply color on your lid. So an E55 eyeshadow flat brush, really nice. So are you a fan of smoky eyeliners? I love smoked out eyeliners. It also works very well for newcomers, specifically if you're somebody who struggles to get a sharp straight line onto your lids. This is what I recommend, that you apply your gel eyeliner, pencil eyeliner, whatever it is. And if you haven't got a crisp line, all you need to do is take the E30 pencil brush by Sigma, and you just need to kind of, smudge the ends out. What I love about it is the taper. It gives you great precision on that eyeliner. Another thing that I love about the bristles is that they do not hurt the eyelid. It does not hurt the lid at all. So a must buy. I used to use a MAC one for the longest time, and ever since I got the Sigma, I have not used any other pencil or dome brush, whatever you call it. This is the E30. Now, to get that perfect sharp winged eyeliner, the brush you need is the E11. Now this is how tiny it is, and it gives you great precision and the perfect tip for an eyeliner. The angular brush. Now the one I'm showing you is not a Sigma. This is just to show you how an angular brush looks like. I have lost my brush and I'm very upset about it. However, the brush is the E65 angular brush. What I love about it is how sharp it is. So I know a lot of women who kind of prefer to apply the winged eyeliner with an angular brush, and if you're somebody who loves to apply her winged eyeliner with an angular brush, the Sigma E65, it's got to be. I mean, it is so sharp, it is so crisp that you cannot go wrong with it. I also use a lot of angular brush to give definition to my brows, specifically to draw a sharper line. You can draw the sharper line with a dip brow pomade, you can do it with a eyeshadow, whatever you prefer. And yes, the E65 by Sigma gives you great precision. If there's one brush that I like to smoke out the lower lash line, it is the short shader brush by Sigma. This one is E20. Now I know a lot of people, they use a pencil dome brush. However, I feel that kind of thickens up the lower lash line a tad bit too much. A short shader brush gives you better control, right? So what I usually do is, say I apply my pencil, or even if I have like a little bit of gel eyeliner applied here, the short shader brush, just to kind of smoke it out without making it go too crazy thick. Of course, if I want to make it thicker, I just have to kind of, pull it a little bit down. But yes, what I love about it is that it gives me the required thickness, and of course I can build on the thickness of the same. Now the next brush I'm going to show you is the E44, and this one is called the Foam Blender. Now when I got this brush, to be very honest, I was pretty clueless on how to use it. However, what I have started using it for so whenever I do a smoky eye, I usually use my favorite E65 brush, which kind of goes into the crease line, and then I take a darker color eyeshadow just to kind of build the color on the outer corners, right? Whenever I want to make that eye even more intense and I want to give that outer corner more darkness, more depth without smoking it out too much, I want to keep it more intense, I just use this brush. So I just take my darker color, fits in beautifully into the crease of the eye and makes the color strong and sharp and not as smoked out and soft. So this one is the E44. Definitely one of the brushes you need to buy if you like really intense outside corners. And then the next brush that I'm going to show you is the E45, and this is called the small tapered blending brush. Now what I love about this brush specifically is whenever I want to do a inner corner highlight, kind of fits in beautifully. Whenever I do an inner corner highlight, I do not like it very defined, you know, I kind of like it a little more softer. So usually I used to do that with a dome or a pencil brush. However, a dome pencil brush gives you more precision and sharpness. So I moved on to this brush, the E45, just to give myself softer inner corners. Another thing I like about the shape is very good to kind of highlight your brow bone. So because it is a long brush, you know, the color does not really go on to your eyebrows, because I always do the brow bone after I'm finished with all my eye makeup and when I'm done with my eyebrow. So I need a brush which does not kind of take the color too up or too down, because obviously then I'll have to improvise on my eye makeup. So love the shape of this brush, perfect for the brow bone and the inner corners. And now I'm going to talk about one of the most favorite aspects of makeup, the contour. And yes, Sigma has totally solved all issues when it comes to contour. And the brushes that I use are these three. So this is my top favorite brush. It's called the Soft Angled Contour. It's the F23. The beautiful angled shape. It's not too sharp also, that's what I like about it. It kind of still gives you precision without it being too stark. Also at the same time kind of blends the foundation, the contour very well. I mostly use this one for my powder contour. Also, I love the way it kind of moves along the jawline because of the angle. It kind of fits in every nook and corner of your jawline also, and of course blending the color into your hairline. Whenever my client says that she does not like a very strong sharp contour, or if I feel that my client does not require a very strong contour, this is the brush I use. It's called the Large Angled Contour F40. So this is to give you more of, you know, where you just need to add like a bronzer to the face to add more depth to it without giving yourself a sharp chisel. And just kind of, it's so soft and it feels amazing on the skin. And it's really dense as well. The third brush that I'm going to show you is the Emphasize Contour in F57. Now, if you see this one, it's really dense and short, and if you see, it's got an unusual shape to it, right? So what I usually do is, say when my client says that she likes her contour really sharp or strong, I take my powder contour and I literally draw it with it. I also draw my liquid or cream contour with it. However, these days I've been using the LA Girl, which comes in a tube, so it's much easier to just kind of apply a line onto your face. However, if you still have to draw any of your contour colors on your face with it, it gives you great precision in terms of even drawing those lines on the face. So this one definitely is not to blend, but just to apply it in the right places. And the F10 and the F15 brushes for the perfect blusher. Now, this is the one that kind of I mostly end up using whenever I want the color to be really strong and intense. It really gives you a strong flush of blush on those cheeks and the temples. This one works better with cream blushes, and so I also apply my powder blushes whenever my client says that she's not a blush person and she does not like it too strong and too much. This gives me more like a beautiful little bit of color without being too intense. I also feel that it looks like you've airbrushed the blush onto the apples and it looks beautiful. So for a minimalistic blush application, this one. For a cream blush application, also this one. And if you like your blusher to be really strong, it's got to be the F10. So another one of my top favorite brushes, this is the F64. A lot of you must have seen me use this brush a lot, and all my students who've done their professional course with me, they know how much I love this brush of mine. I love it so much that I also got a copper variant of it. So usually what sometimes when I have a lot of brides, I just stick to one color for the lighter skin tone and the other color for the darker skin tone so that I don't have to clean my brush. So perfectly works well on the under eye. You can dab your concealer into place with it. Really goes onto the lash line also, goes onto the inner corner also. Another thing that I realized with it was that whenever I want to give my jawline a good highlight, the shape kind of really worked very well to give myself a much like a pop of just making that jaw highlight pop out really well. That's because it's so perfectly shaped. I also feel like it kind of literally replicates your finger. So if you're somebody who uses a lot of finger to blend here and there, this is one brush you will definitely love. I also have been using it in between until I actually owned all the contour brushes. I was also drawing all my contour lines with the same one. So the F64 Soft Blend Concealer Brush. And I use the F25 Tapered Brush for my powder. Now I do not prefer those super big fluffy brushes. I prefer something a little more tapered because I feel it kind of helps you kind of work around the under eye really well without hurting the client's eye. And I also kind of use it to kind of seamlessly blend in all the powder and also kind of take off any extra powder that's applied on the face, or sometimes even just to, if you just want to buff your foundation a little bit more, works beautifully on the skin. Also the fan brush, the Sigma F41 fan brush. Now, absolutely love how clean and sharp it is. So if you like that highlight, perfect. If you like it really sharp, this is the brush that you need to buy. However, I also recently got the strobing and baking set, and it has these wonderful 6 brushes, which also has a mini fan brush. So if you compare this fan brush to this one, of course you can see this one is much more tinier and has precision, of course, right? But both of them give you a totally different way to apply the highlighter. I sometimes also take some specifically, when I want to, if I've done my foundation first and I just want to protect my under eye from with eyeshadow falling down, I just take this brush into the powder and I just kind of line it right there. So it's pretty multi-purpose. I also kind of remove all the powder. I also kind of give myself a sharp highlight with it. If you just blend it downwards, you can also make the highlighter a little softer and blend it more into your blusher. Now, talking about the strobing and baking kit. So it has these 6 brushes. Now, talking about each one individually, the first brush, which is my top favorite in this entire kit, is the Concealer Blend Kabuki F79. So now what I love about it is the tapered end. And also, all of you know that I use a lot of MAC concealers, and what I love about this particularly is that I can literally dip it directly into my MAC concealer and kind of just apply directly. So I don't have to kind of first scoop it out with my finger or with another tiny brush, apply it and then blend it. So I just go, you know, it's so much faster and quicker. Seamlessly blends the concealer into place. Absolutely loving it. The next brush that I'm going to show you are the Bake Precision and the Bake Kabuki brushes. Now, if you see again, this is the bigger version and this is the same shape in a smaller version. So if you are somebody who's totally into baking, now baking, I do bake. I'm not saying that I don't bake at all, but I do not bake as much because I personally have very dry skin, and of course I do most tutorials on myself, and I feel that baking takes away that beautiful dewiness of my foundation, and that's why I do not bake a lot. However, yes, I bake also, and whenever I do, these are the brushes I've been using. So this one, perfectly, you can just apply your powder just the way you like it, be it a triangular shape. Also, because it's kind of tapered, it also takes the color all the way to the inside, right? The bigger one kind of gives you a perfect area to bake specifically on the jawline, and you can literally apply your powder there and kind of even curve it a little bit. You can also take powder and just apply it right in the center here and right there. So just the perfect size for the face, and this is just right for the under eyes. And this is the brush that they've given you. It's called the Powder Sweep F06. Now, so whenever I bake and if I want to kind of remove all that powder, this is the brush I have been using to kind of sweep that extra powder off. And the brush that I've been absolutely loving for the highlight is the tapered highlighter brush in F35. So if I just use it, so what I like about it, again, kind of literally replicates the size of your finger, gives you the perfect application for your cheekbones, and if you like it really flashy and dewy, you can also dampen this brush and apply it. You can also use the same brush to kind of just, you know, kind of blend the highlight downwards into the blush. And if you like great shiny sharp super cheekbones, this is the brush that's going to give you that result. So now if I compare it to the other big fan brush, these are natural bristles and these are synthetic bristles, so of course this kind of latches onto the product really well and really gives you those very intense cheekbones. So again, to repeat myself, these brushes are a part of the baking and strobing kit of Sigma. All these brushes are available on www.beautysource.in. Beautysource.in are the only authorized distributors for Sigma brushes in India, so do not go elsewhere. They have authentic brushes from Sigma, and if you use Chandni Singh in all capital at checkout, you will also get a 10% off. So feel free to shop, use my name at checkout, and you will get an extra 10% off. And of course, they keep having these wonderful sales off and on, so follow them on Instagram, and they have some wonderful products apart from just Sigma brushes. Really high-end, great quality, fantastic products for skin and hair care, and even for men they have a different range altogether. So those were my top Sigma brushes, and I hope you like this video. Give me a big thumbs up, and if you'd like to see a certain video, do leave a comment. I read all of them, and I'm also going to do a lot more informative videos like this, so keep watching and do subscribe.